Hi, and welcome to the KV Newsroom. This is a very special room. This is where we prepare and present KV newscasts. In this space, which was specifically built for television news operation, we have room for about 40 people. We have reporters, we have producers, we have executive producers, and news management all working out of the space. One of the things you'll notice in the space behind me is that there's going to be a lot of television cameras. We have 2 live TV cameras in this space, and we often use them to do parts of our newscast directly from the newsrooms when there's breaking news or an update for an upcoming story. The other thing that you'll notice about this space that you'll see a lot of is computer monitors. Every desk has got its own workstation. All these workstations are tied together using a proprietary software package specifically written for producing television newscasts. Not only can we write our stories for TV right on the specific software, it also allows us to do the markups. We can mark our video, we can mark our sources and our CGs into the software package as well. Then information is then sent to the control room where the newscast is actually produced. So we have a very unique and specific application for all our software and the tools we use to write our newscasts.
I think the difference in writing for broadcast versus print or anything else is just to be more conversational, as if you were talking to your mom or friend. And that's where I think it's a little bit different than how we learned in J school, writing for newspaper or even online. You want to get the most important thing out there, I think, first, get people's attention, and then you can get into the details a little bit later in the script. So I think it's just a matter of being a little bit more conversational. It doesn't have to be as formal. I think the sentences tend to be a little bit shorter, more concise.
Well, writing for TV now has definitely changed in the 18 or so years since I've been in it. For television, scripts are a lot quicker now than what they used to be when I started. It's great if you can get all the information in there in about 20 seconds. And it may seem impossible, but when you get down to it, it's amazing that you can get a lot of information into 20 seconds. Television moves at a faster pace, and I think that's kind of indicative of us as a society. We move at a faster pace, we get our information faster now, and I think television news definitely has to keep up with that. Now, the process is starting out kind of like with some of the stories we're starting out with here today. We've had a fatal accident involving a police officer, and one of the things you want to get to quickly is what happened. So you need to get that big chunk right out of the way at the beginning. What happened, and then you can go down into the smaller details after that. A tearful plea from a murder victim's daughter as investigators search for her father's killer.
An arrest in the 360 condo murder case. Who's charged and where police found him?
And a somber moment for first responders saluting a police sergeant killed in a traffic accident. Now flags are at half-staff in Lakeway. Good evening, I'm Tyler C. Swarta.
And I'm Terry Gruca. That accident killed 47-year-old Lakeway Police Sergeant Chris Doles, who'd been with the department since July 2011. This morning, his pickup crossed into oncoming traffic on 620 and hit another pickup before he went off the road and struck a tree. The reason why is still unclear. The Lakeway Police Chief is expected to talk about Sergeant Doles' death any minute now. But first, let's go to KVUE's Shannon Murray. Shannon?
So one of the things you really have to do when you start looking at a story, I think, is prioritize what information is the most important, what has to get in there, and what can potentially be let go if you don't have time for it. There's many times when we see scripts that they cut parts out as we're in it, or we'll do it just before we actually read the script. We will cut things out so that you can shorten that script and fit it in the newscast. Earlier in the career, Twitter, Facebook, all that kind of stuff wasn't around. For that matter, even a website wasn't around. So what we are putting out on the newscast now, yes, I'm old, what we're putting out on the newscast now, most people have probably already heard. So in addition to writing quick and concise, you also need to look for details that maybe weren't in a tweet or haven't been in a web script that we can show. And that's the big thing about TV news. We can show it. We can show those pictures. But your words have to go right along with them. You know, we have to do the whole process in reverse, too. Because once you get that story whittled down to a 20-second or 30-second VO, you've got to turn around and take that story and expand it for the web, a web copy version that has more details and is written out more in a newspaper style. I think local TV news will stay strong as long as we adapt. And I think that's one of the big things we're going to have to do. We're going to have to adapt to everything that's happening. Terry and I sit out here on Twitter and Facebook along with having the rundown of the show open, and so we do all of that at the same time. So we have to be able to, do all that at once. And I think that's the big thing about TV news. We got to figure out where our viewers are. They may not be tuning in at 5, 6, and 10. We may have to go to them a different way, but I think TV news is here to stay.